Hi everybody. So I wanted to start making some videos. I've been doing a big writing project and it's done. So I get to start focusing on this stuff again. But I still am very much involved in a lot of the mind-body groups and kind of really feeling, what's out there and how people are getting better. And it's really great because this science is becoming much more well known as people are talking about it, right? And so we want to keep talking about it. But what I want to talk about today is it's the fact that for a lot of us this takes a long time. And people get really frustrated. They think that they should be able to do a little program and that all their symptoms are going away. And then they get frustrated that it doesn't work, and then they say it doesn't work, and they stop really believing. They don't give themselves the opportunity to get evidence that this stuff does work, right? And so why does this take a while for so many of us? There are those that will read a Dr. Sarno book and their symptoms go right away, right? But that doesn't mean that they've really gone deep enough to address the underlying factor, the underlying contributor to the symptoms. And oftentimes people that get this kind of book cure thing, the symptoms will come back and they'll get really frustrated, and then because they don't really have the tools and the skills and the knowledge of self to start working with themselves, right? And this is the key. It's this knowledge of self, okay? Knowing thyself, knowing oneself is the way to recover. And so when we get a program, the program is designed to assist us in getting to know ourselves. And we have to understand that a lot of what is the brain is perceiving as dangerous is below the level of the conscious mind. And so we don't see it, okay? And I've mentioned this a lot. And so the reason why this can take so long is that because there's so much still in the subterranean, right, below the conscious level of mind, that it's going to take a little while for the brain to start feeling safe enough for us to gain access to the subconscious, for it to start to share things with the conscious level. Okay, does that make sense? And this is what I've seen in myself, and I still get symptoms now and then. Now, of course, I am on a very strong spiritual path, and so that is also going to really push the brain into the unknown, and the brain doesn't like the unknown, and it doesn't feel safe in the unknown. And as a result, people on a spiritual path are almost more susceptible to this kind of stuff, because if you're on a really strong spiritual path, we're letting go of a lot. We're letting go of a lot of the knowns, and the brain doesn't like that. The brain likes to know everything. It wants to know how everything works and how everything's going to turn out, okay? And so, why this takes so long and why it's taken so long for me, and now I'm way better than I was. I want to really make that clear that I'm hiking. I still don't have quite this. I can't do full splits yet because the mobility isn't quite there yet. And and once in a while I'll get some digestive stuff, or I got some canker sores when I just went on a big long road trip. They're very minimal compared to what they were. And this is okay. I am not looking to get rid of my symptoms. Okay? I want to know what's still not feeling safe inside. Okay? And if the brain, aspects of the brain that often come from our childhood or even beyond that, if there's aspects of that that don't feel safe inside, oftentimes it's hidden from us. And it's hidden for a reason, because it's not safe. Okay? The brain is hiding it. Okay? But the reason why this is such a beautiful journey, I mean, this is the way I'm seeing it, and I really want to convey this to you, is that I am getting to know myself in a way that I have never even come close to imagining, right? And not only getting to know myself, but how to be with that from awareness. And it's shifting the identity from that which is afraid into just awareness, being pure awareness. And it's taken a long time because that awareness didn't have access to the subconscious. So this is a journey about conveying enough safety that the brain feels safe enough to start to reveal the subconscious. Okay? And if we know that there's stuff hidden from us, that we don't see it, we don't put any pressure on ourselves. We don't put a timeline on this. This is about our evolution. This is about a journey. Okay? And I remember one coach said once, it's not a sprint. It's like a marathon. And you have to learn to pace yourself. And I know when I'm putting pressure on myself. My body reacts right away. Because pressure means danger. Right? Because pressure means that there's something wrong that needs fixing. And in the mind-body world, there's nothing wrong that needs fixing. Nothing. This is an absolute truth in mind-body science that you have to understand. And if there's nothing wrong that needs fixing, why are there symptoms? Because the symptoms are there to distract us from something else. Okay? They're almost like a warning signal. And if there's nothing there that needs fixing, we know that the symptoms are like a false alarm. Because all our perceptions are false. Okay? And this is radical truth, okay? This is radical. If all our perceptions are false, then what am I perceiving that's not true? And we start questioning ourselves. And if we are not questioning ourselves, if we're just depending upon some program or some coach or some book to make us get better, that's not going to work. Or if it works, it's going to be temporary. It's not going to go deep enough. Because false perceptions are usually coming from a perception of danger. They're a protector, right? The brain is like needing to understand everything and everyone in order to stay safe. and it's all interpreted. It's all wrong. So the more you get to go inside of yourself and get to know yourself and your perceptions and your behaviors and your thoughts, you'll start to see how they're feeding perceptions that are not true. And so we're unwrapping, okay? And we're unwrapping and we're allowing that part of ourself that doesn't feel safe to not feel safe. Because that's what's at the core. That part of ourselves that doesn't feel safe has never been allowed to not feel safe. All those other behaviors and thoughts, perceptions, were a way to mitigate that not feeling safe. Does that make sense? Okay? So we're unwrapping the package so that we can get to the part of ourselves that doesn't feel safe, so that we can start allowing it to be the way it is. And we meet that with the presence of our awareness. And that presence of our awareness has a very, very powerful healing energy to it. That's where allowing comes from. Okay? And this is a very powerful process of you really shifting from that which doesn't feel safe into the pure awareness of the self. I'm going to stop this. This was a little bit deeper, but I hope I got my message across. Okay, we'll talk again. Okay, bye-bye.